Welcome in to Moving the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside Drell Hendricks. We've got a great interview today, a very special guest, the new head coach of the Fort Dorchester Patriots, Shaun Lorenzano. Coach, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing outstanding. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, and we appreciate your time. We really do. If this is you guys' first time tuning in, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Moving Chains. Website movingchains.com, our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Coach Lorenzano was hired in December. He's been the head coach at Lake Howell High School in Florida previous to this. And before that, he was also the head coach at Cypress Creek down in Florida. Coach, let's start there. How's that transition been, getting down from the Sunshine State up here to the Palmetto State, kind of going back and forth? What's that kind of been like getting settled in there at Fort D?
Man, it's been like a whirlwind tornado, I'll tell you right now. But it's been fun, man. It's exciting. Sometimes, I've been a head coach for about 10 years, and you kind of get in the mode where you're on cruise control. You got guys doing this, guys doing that, and now, man, it's all starting again, and it's the tornado, and it's a lot of fun, man. It wakes you up, it gets you excited, keeps you young. So, I'm loving it. I'm loving the transition so far.
Coach, we got to get the resume questions out of the way. We need your background. If you don't mind, you've mentioned being a head coach for 10 years. Tell us how you got to this point here at Fort D and a little bit about your coaching career.
Okay. I as a player, I played at Hastings College, a little NAIA school in Nebraska, and I had a coach that, man, he's passed away since then, Bill O'Boyle, awesome dude, and I graduated with like a communications degree, and I was like DJing, and he called me on the road one day. I was like in LA or something DJing, and he called me. He's like, man, you need to be coaching. I got an opportunity for you. Go to Southern Miss. And there's a job opening there. I'll give you a good recommendation. I know a couple, and I did. So I got a GA job at Southern Miss. And I wasn't thinking about coaching, just kind of fell into it. You know what I mean? And Jeff Bauer was the head coach, and I was the lowest guy in the totem pole, doing a lot of video breakdown stuff and everything. And it was a lot of fun, man. I really learned a lot of football. It's like boot camp, Marine Corps for football, sleeping in the office every day. And then from there, I got opportunity to go to Louisiana Tech University on staff for Jack Bicknell as the lowest guy. My title was video coordinator, but we did a lot of more stuff then. Back then, there was no quality control guys, or they had a couple GAs, but so I got the opportunity to go up there and be on staff there. I loved it. I had a great time. Learned a lot of football. My wife's a head basketball coach as well in high school, so. She was just starting out. I met her at Southern Miss. She played at Southern Miss, and she ends up coaching high school basketball in Ruston. And it was just a lot of it. We were busy. One of us had to give in. You know what I mean? And I decided. I said, I'll take a step back for a little bit. And we came back down to Florida, and I coached high school football. Kind of started at my alma mater, Lyman High School, as an assistant coach in DC. I think it was there for probably like 7 years, something like that. And then got a head coaching job at Cypress Creek. I went to Lake Howell for a couple of years in between there as an assistant coach, and then went to Cypress Creek as a head coach. Probably one of the worst programs you could probably take over in Orlando, in Central Florida, maybe in Florida, period. I think they were dead last in the Max Preps rankings in 8A football when I took over. And a lot of people are like, hey, man, that's a big challenge. Do you really want that job? And I've always been attracted to challenges, man. I grew up real poor. I've had the odds against me my whole life. I got to play college football. I'm 5'10". I would go play with 6'3" dudes. And I just said, you know what? Yeah, those kids need a mentor. They need somebody to bring them out of the dirt and out of the mud. And we did, man. We had some great seasons down there. I mean, started off 27 kids on an 8A program. And if Florida 8A is the biggest classification, 4,500 kids at the school and 27 kids on the varsity football team. Wow. So I had my work cut out for me. We had to build the program, build the Pop Warner, build the youth program. It was a building process. And we left that place far better. Went to a bowl game, really engineered some success. And my wife was coaching basketball at Lake Howell. So, and I had left Lake Howell to come to Cypress Creek. And then there was a coaching change, and they offered me the job, and it kind of made sense. It was right next to my house, and it was a very similar situation. Lake Howell was in it was in the dumps for the most part. Hadn't won in 20 something years. Had a bunch of 5-5 records and things like that, but just had and Lake Howell has a story. It's a storied program. They had some really, if you've done your research, one of the highest number of NFL guys at Seminole County Central Florida have come from Lake Howell High School. Brandon Marshall, Kawika Mitchell, Super Bowl champion, as recent as Christian Jones that played in the league. So and there's a lot more. There's a bunch more. Cam Hopkins. So Coach Mike Bisceglia was the coach during the 90s when they were like a legendary program, and they wanted to bring it back to something like that. And that was so that was one of my first calls to Coach Bisceglia and said, "Hey man, he's an older man." I said, "I want you on the sideline hanging out. I want you a part of the program." And we fought. And in Florida, it's different. A little bit different. We 5A, 8A, 2A. It's a little. There's not as much emphasis on that as playing within your county too. So Seminole County has Seminole High School, Lake Mary High School. I don't know if you know these schools. They're some of the top in Florida. So we were forced to have to play some of those schools. And we beat big teams like Evans and things like that down in Florida. So we turned it around. Besides the first year, I think almost every season, first and maybe the second to last, we were fighting for a district championship. We were in the district championship game every year. Finished the last 2 years with winning records. We went to bowl games. So it was another turnaround program, and I think that was kind of, I don't know if that's my niche or it's just where God placed me. You know what I mean? And to be able to take those kids and get them to stand on their own 2 feet and fight and fight big time teams is a testament to our coaching staff. It was a testament to their will and their desire. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot about how to coach and how to get it done.
So Coach, you mentioned, you've been in Florida basically your whole career at the high school level and had some success down there. What made you look at some South Carolina jobs, specifically this Fort Dorchester job?
It's a weird story. And Georgia schools, I've had some friends in Georgia, they got AD jobs, and they were kind of asking, hey, I saw what you did down there. I'd like you to come up. And I really wasn't entertaining anything. There was buddies of mine and things like that. And so some of those kind of popped up and I put in for them. And that kind of happened with the Fort job. The Seminole coach that left the Fort was Eric Lodge, and one of his assistant coaches, actually 2 of his assistant coaches, they played for me when they were younger in like 2007 and 8. So one at Lyman, one at Lake Howell, and one of them, the one from Lake Howell, was just texting me, "Hey, great job, coach. I'm super proud of what you're doing with the school as an alumni. Love what I'm seeing." And we've kind of always stayed in touch. He used to coach in Seminole County too, so. He said, we just sort of chit chat. And he said, "Hey, if you're ever interested in coming up here, there's some good football up here," and sent me a bunch of different jobs. I think Wanda was open at the time. Stahl was open at the time. And really, it's a lot of work to take a team from ground zero to bring it to winning. And when I looked at the schools that were up here and I looked at the school in Georgia that I was applying to, I wanted to take over a program that had some tradition and had some success and had some winning, and see if this formula could apply to turning them into a consistent state champion. And so that was attractive. And just looking at what Coach LaPrade did here, the coaching staff did here, the legacy they've left over the years, the reputation they've had over the years, it's tremendous. They've done such a great job, and just that was very attractive. So that's kind of how I got it. It's nothing fancy. I didn't know anybody really, no connections, no anything. Just a guy applied for a job, man, and praise the Lord, he has a will, and we're seeing that through right now. So.
Hey, Coach, you talked about Coach Lodge. We had him on last year, which was really awesome to catch up with him. So that's a cool story, a great connection there. We weren't familiar with that. And, we see a lot of coaches from out of state coming to the Palmetto State. We don't really have the national recognition, but there is great football here. So that's awesome to hear.
Absolutely.
But moving on to my next question, Coach, how is that staff shaping up? You've been in place for a little bit. now? Do you have it fully complete? And what's it like? Is it a mixture of some older people that were on staff? Did you bring a lot of new people with you? How is it looking for the next year?
So that's, when anytime you take over a job, there's that uncertainty, right? So coaches, they don't know. Are they going to be accepted by you? Are they going to be offered jobs? So my first thing I did was I got up here within the first couple of days and I started meeting with guys. I had a big staff meeting, potential staff meeting, and told them, I want to interview everybody. I want to talk to everybody. And I did over those first few weeks. It was just a very busy Christmas time, just interviewing guys, talking with guys, doing face-to-face stuff, coming up here and doing stuff online. And so the way the staff shaped up, we kept almost everybody so far. Moved some guys around that I thought were stronger in other areas, and moved some guys at other positions, maybe on the B teams and freshmen that I thought would help us there. Promoted some guys to different positions, but the staff pretty much stayed intact. I mean, Bobby Floyd, our defensive coordinator, is a mainstay here. He's done such a great job with the defense and our strength and conditioning, and his office is right next to mine right now. And we're gelling. We're kind of cut from the same cloth. We think along the lines of the same philosophies, and it was just a really good fit. You know what I mean? And so he's running the defense, and the position coaches have pretty much stayed intact. So I'm bringing up a couple guys from Florida. And it's going to take time because these guys got to sell houses, they got to do things. But initially, the running backs coach is coming up with Darian Walker. He was my OC for about 3 years. Played for me back in like 2007, and it's fun to have guys come back and that played for you and then coach for you and then excel at coaching for you and really step into their own. So he's coming up and we got him a job up here teaching, and so it's moving, and I'm excited about it, and I'm excited about where we're headed.
Coach, being from out of state, obviously a lot of our viewers probably aren't very familiar with what you like to do scheme and style wise. So if you don't mind kind of giving us a breakdown of what you like to do on both sides of the ball, and then also do you call plays for either side?
So I have, and I've traditionally been a defensive coordinator, and I've been an odd front defensive coordinator, a lot based on necessity. To me, I really like to hone in on what the strengths of the individual team is and the individual players. So and cater the scheme around that. Your philosophies don't have to change. If you want to preach violence, if you want to preach aggression and pressure, that doesn't have to change. You can do that in any schematic. So yes, as a defensive coordinator, I love to bring calculated pressure. I started off in college football where I was the guy that had to break down all the film. So everything we're going to do is going to be very detail orientated. Risk will be taken based on calculated risks. But again, you can't play timid and sit back. You've got to play some hard-nosed defense. And Bobby preaches that. We have a very similar philosophy in that. Offensively, last couple of years at Lake Howell, I took over the offense. I didn't think we were getting the productivity we needed. We were winning games with defense. I called the defense up to there, hired a DC that I thought was that I thought was like-minded, and man, we opened it up and started chucking the ball, man, and running the spread. I'm 50-50 in what we want to do as far as pass run, but I want to get the ball into the hands of the playmakers. You can be a system guy and run single wing and just run single wing forever. I want to get the ball in the hands of the playmakers. So if they're going to give me hitch 10 times in a row, I'm going to take it 10 times in a row. Whether our bread and butter plays sweep or zone or power. So schematically, we're going to spread it out. We're going to misdirect the ball a good bit. And we're going to play some hard-nosed, tough football in the run game and look for us to air it out a good bit too, when it comes to some situations that maybe they wouldn't have done it last time.
I can definitely tell you've been a head coach for a long time. You just made both sides of the ball happy, talking about preaching violence on defense and airing it out on offense. So that sounds like a lot of fun. Coach, where does that come from? You mentioned a brief time working in college, kind of cutting your teeth there, and then being a head coach on the high school level now for over a decade. Who are some coaches that you maybe model your style after and you've picked up from? Coaching's a big fraternity.
Yeah.
Who do you look up to maybe on the NFL level, the college level, or even the high school level?
I'll tell you, I really model the philosophy I've had off of the college coaches from Hastings College, Ross Ells, Barney Cotton. Those, if you recognize those names, those guys from Hastings College, they went on to coach at Nebraska, Ohio. They went on to become big Division I coaches. We learned how to win, and I learned how a team comes together. So that's that mindset I have. I learned from them. Schematically, Bill Coggle was the coach at Lyman when I took over, and he was the head coach. He was fired and then went to new principal came in, and then I went to Lake Howell, and he went to Apopka High School. If you ever heard of Apopka High School, they're a perennial powerhouse, state champion. I think as an offensive coordinator there, he's won a couple state titles under his realm, and now he's still a coordinator now. I got a lot of offensive stuff from him. I got a lot of stuff from him, how to stop option, and he's really been the guy that's guided me my whole high school career on how to beat high school offenses and high school defenses. He's very good at it. We ran the spread. Now he runs the single wing and integrates the spread. Rick Darlington, if you know that guy's name from Apopka, he integrated spread and single wing. So that's where I get kind of the stuff that we're going to be kind of doing. And those are the kind of guys I always looked up to. And they've been in charge of great programs. It's historically great programs in Florida. And those are kind of my high school mentors and my college mentors. So
Fort Dorchester has had no shortage of athletes and playmakers over the years, but who are some guys coming back on next year's team that we should really be on the lookout for? Maybe some sleepers who you think could be big time stars for you guys.
When I first got here, the weight room was big for me. Just getting in the weight room. I believe you create your attitude. I believe you create your identity in the weight room. So Coach Floyd's our strength and conditioning coordinator. He said, and in Florida we have competition weightlifting. So at the state championship level. So, and it's more of powerlifting, and that's the first phase you kind of want to do anyway. So I took over the first 6 weeks of the program, really tried to just get to know the boys and really, really push them and see what they can do. One guy that shined in the weight room, and now then we started getting out to kind of field practices, is Malcolm Pimentel Jr. He's on the board on every category within the top. He's a sophomore. He played linebacker last year. He's probably going to play some flex tight end and bounce back between an H-back for us on offense. He's going to go ahead and play some linebacker on defense. He's going to be a guy that plays all the time. I don't really want to take him off the field. He's going to surprise a lot of people, and he's strong. He's fast. He's athletic. We'll probably sell him as an athlete to a lot of college coaches. But I would look for him 6'2.5", probably about 205 pounds. He's a good-looking kid. On the O-line, Lamarion Thompson took a visit. A lot of college coaches are on him already. Took a visit to Clemson last year. He's a sophomore this year, going to be a junior. They call him Big Bronco. So if you guys want to take that name down, 6'3". I think he's about 320-something pounds. Big dude, big, strong, and he's a leader. And I love his attitude and his approach. He's just been getting after it, and he's got great feet. Watch his highlights. I mean, he's got it all, and he's so young, and they're just going to keep getting better. I believe we got one of the best running backs around in Ryan Campbell. He's explosive. He's dynamic. He's probably about 175 pounds, but he's not afraid to lower his shoulder and just get the extra couple of yards. A lot of times he doesn't need to, because he's got some good juke too. So those guys are going to be tremendous. Jalen White on the defensive side of the ball is going to be a cornerback, could be a safety for us. He had a good year last year. He'll start. He comes from a good pedigree with his dad. Former NFL player for the New England Patriots, but he's got a chance to be a really good defender. Also on the defensive side of the ball, we've got some linebackers in Jackson King. We're going to play him in as one of our outside backers, and Savion Garrett, who transferred over from Stall before I got here. He's going to hit him in the mouth too. So I'm excited about these guys. Yeah. I can keep going.
Hey,
I can keep going. I love talking about my players, man.
No, that's the big thing of what we like to do. We love talking about the players, so that's outstanding. And if you have a couple more names and you want to shout them out,
I don't want to forget this guy. Just he was young, and I've got kind of two guys battling it out right now. But a guy that had an undefeated JV season, won the JV region, was Kevin Johnson. Just a sophomore coming up. He'll fight for starting quarterback jobs with Banks Wickersham, who's a baseball player. Probably going to get drafted at some point. But a tremendous baseball player, tremendous football player. Those two are battling out right now. And it's exciting to watch. And I can't say enough good stuff about their leadership either, because I come into a good situation with really good kids. And I just can't wait to get on the field and play some games. It's too long. August can't come soon enough, man. So
tell me about it. Yeah.
That's the cool thing too. You just mentioned it. Can't wait to get on the field. I know those guys are the same way. I know a lot of them probably played winter and playing spring sports now, but spring practice is here, in the next couple of weeks. What are you looking to accomplish, in your spring practices this coming up month or in the next few weeks? And, what do you hope to learn about your team, as you go into the off season?
Right. So, our plan in the beginning of the off season, and especially in the weight room, was we wanted to build the man and build the character of the man. That's the first things first. And I don't care how many rings I can win as a football coach. If I don't have good husbands, good fathers, good leaders in the community, I haven't done my job. All I've done is collect something for myself that's going to collect dust. These men are going to go out and change the world. And that's what we do as football players. And that's what we do as men and leaders. So that's been the emphasis on making strength gains and building character and developing character, really. And so moving into the spring, I want to put them in adverse situations where we can test some of those lessons learned. So practice is going to be tough. Practice is going to be long. Practice is going to be hard. I want to see who wants it more. I want to see who can handle adversity, who can overcome adversity. I want to be able to work on schematic and really evaluate each individual player to see if they fit that schematic and if we've got to make some adjustments. So it's a big evaluation process of attitude, effort, and ability. So, hopefully we'll get a lot installed, a lot evaluated, and then we can make the changes where we need to make for the summer and go into the season rocking and rolling, baby, ready to win a championship. So,
Coach, after obviously spring practice, you kind of hit that 7-on-7 period. Are you a big fan of that stuff? Are you more of an 11-on-11 guy now that that's legal here in South Carolina, or what do you really prefer kind of for that summertime?
You asked me that question 10 years ago, and I would tell you 7-on-7 is trash. I hate it. It's not football, right? I'll kind of give you my background on that. I started a 7-on-7 tournament company in Florida. Will Detter started what's called the hsfb Association. And he got permission from the FHSAA, which is the governing body, to have a third-party organization, like a camp, right? Start a league where you only can play with your high school. So this league is probably 200 members strong now. Each kid has to pay, like a camp, to join, but the stipulations and the rules state you have to be enrolled at the school. We checked rosters and max preps rosters before the tournaments. I facilitated the tournaments because I'm more of a hands-on guy. So we would host these big tournaments of like 30, 40 teams down in Florida, and we would do it every 2 weeks. And we tried to make it as similar to like a pylon tournament as possible. DJs, awards, trophies the size of a mountain, just so if that's what the kids want to have fun with, we're going to have fun. But now the coaches get kind of manipulated. Now the coaches get to work with their kids year round. Okay. Call their plays, install their coverages and passing schematics in certain situations. Right. And really kind of just build your team camaraderie and compete. Coaches bought into this. They loved it. I wanted to start it when I came up here. When I'm looking through the school league book, man, you can't do none of that stuff down here.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, get with it. South Carolina, get with it. Let's go. We need to let our, I personally, I started to believe in it more, the 7-on-7 season, because I don't want my quarterback thrown with another receiver from another. That does me no good. I want him thrown with the receivers that he's going to throw to during the year. You know what I mean? Picking up timing, getting to know each other even more. Who's going to be your targets? Who's going to be the guys you really want to throw to? So there's a lot of value to 7-on-7. And I believe in it. So yes, we're going to do a couple tournaments. As the longer I stay and the longer I'm the head coach here, we'll probably evolve into more and more and more. Just looking at it, there wasn't a ton of opportunities around. But we'll do some camps like CSU. We'll do the Low Country 7-on-7 tournament at Ashley Ridge. And I'm just trying to find some more that we can go to. I don't want to bring the kids. I would bring the kids to UCF and go to Florida and do stuff like that. It's 5 hours away. We can do something like that. But this year is probably going to be a little harder to get that going right now. In the future, we're going to play more and more. And maybe I'll host some here. I'll try to do that too. So yes. Yeah, I'm all in on 7-on-7, especially being a passing guy now. I like it. So,
Coach, you offer a unique perspective, and I kind of want to tap into that for a little bit. What are some of those differences you've noticed in these short months, from what you've had in Florida and coming up here to South Carolina? It can be good or bad, just what have you noticed, like some of the biggest things, in this transition?
So in Florida, there's a lot of schools in it's kind of like that here. One right down the block, like at least in Charleston, it kind of is, right?
Yeah.
So this is that'll kind of be a microcosm of what Florida is all over, right? But you've got these schools, Polk County schools, you've got Orange County schools like a Popka, a Seminole County school like a Sanford, which is Sanford's kind of out there, and it's got its own community, right? Popka's out there, it's got its own community. That's what this is like. So it's hard to explain. Football is a priority at an Apopka and a Seminole. Football is a priority at a Fort Dorchester and a Somerville. The community pours into it. The coaches believe in it. Everybody, you don't want for very much as a football. The resources are immense, and everyone takes it very seriously. Like they should.
Yeah.
That's spotty at places in Florida. It is. You'd have to go to like an Apopka. You'd have to go to a Lakeland. I'm giving you these names, right?
We follow recruiting, so I know the names.
And then when you get in the urban areas and where communities blend, it just kind of becomes this hodgepodge, and the resources aren't there, and it's not taken as serious. It's more like, hey, I'm gonna play football. It's gonna be a hobby, and you get your tremendous athletes. Don't get it twisted. There is some speed down there, boy, and there's some size and talent. But again, I love the priority and the emphasis put on football around here. It's taken very seriously. The players take it very seriously. At least at Fort we do. I know that for sure. I don't have to chase kids around to get in the weight room. I don't have to chase kids around to do reps. There's always one straggler here and there. These kids are getting after it. It's internal. It's intrinsic. The motivation's there. They want it. They know what it takes. I'm here to guide them. I'm here to put them on the path, put them back on the path if they stray. Give them some good guidelines. But I love the atmosphere. I love the rivalries. I love hearing about old stories. I've got to meet Coach LaPrade. I got to talk to him. He's helped me out a good bit. Outstanding guy. He's done so much for the community. And just listening to his legacy over the past 20 something years has been tremendous. And I hope to do the same. So.
Yeah, football is certainly very important there at Fort Dorchester, a program that's had a lot of success, state titles, region titles, all that stuff. A little bit different from what you've taken over in the past, where you've kind of had to build it up from the ground up. So how did that kind of change the message when you came in? And was there maybe a first thing that you're like, hey, this is what I really want to install right away, or kind of a one thing you wanted to make sure you switched once you got that head kick out your job here at Fort D?
I've got to put my stamp on it too. I got to put my identity on it too. So the first thing I did, and I think this is the most important thing, I created a leadership council of 10 guys, and I let the team vote on that leadership council. They haven't had that before. And these 10 guys were the voice of the past few years. There was a lot of seniors on, and really, we're doing this together. And I wasn't going to come in and change a bunch of things that, as far as tradition stuff that they are used to. So I wanted to hear from them. What do they like? What they didn't like? Why haven't they? What's going to take them to be able to finish this thing at the highest level possible? And what's been working, you know? And so we hashed it out, and we came up with a strategy and a philosophy that I kind of ran with, and have infused it in every facet of the game and every facet of what we're doing here. So you know, hard work, intensity, together we sacrifice. They picked two. The boys voted on. They came up with this: Fort hits. With hard work and intensity, together we sacrifice. Hard work and intensity is what they had. I kind of gone over that with you. That's their strengths. You probably ask any coach around here, you know they're going to play harder than just about anybody. All right, and they're going to play intense. I think over the last year with the coaching changes and things like that, it's been very hard on these boys. It's been pretty hard on the community. And so being together, sacrificing for each other was what they said we needed to do better, and becoming more of a brotherhood and less of individuals. And so that's the acronym they put together. And I mean, if you can't listen to your boys and listen to your team, you're not doing your job. And listen to your coaching staff too. I've vetted these dudes. I've asked them their opinion on things. It's not a one-man show. You've got to listen. You've got to learn. You've got to adapt, and then you've got to be firm in everything that you've decided on. And that's what we're rocking with. So,
Coach, the dream of most high school players is to play at the next level. You know, obviously, in a program like yours at 4D, that happens more frequently than a lot of other places. You're coming into a situation from Florida, where you see a lot more involvement with recruiting. It's bigger there, yeah. And we're trying to get there in the state of South Carolina. How have you been able so far to leverage your relationships, you know, with recruiters down in that area or people you've interacted with previously to kind of help these guys out and get these looks for scholarships?
I think as a high school coach, you've got to be genuine. You got to be honest with these dudes, because they have 10, 20 minutes to come into your school and evaluate and just listen to what your opinion is. And you've got to be prepared. So at Lake Howell High School, I'm telling you, almost every single one of my seniors will get an offer, whether that's to a Division I, two or three school, or any high school. Every single year it's been like that. We've been fortunate. My first 4 years, we put a good Division I every year. And that's kind of a middle of the road type program, right? So you have to build the relationships. Of course, Florida, they all come. So in my phone, I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of college coaches' numbers. And I built that relation. I brought that here when I got here. So as soon as I came, I hit the ground running. I started, I met with the seniors, the outgoing seniors, and asked if I could do anything for them. And I made calls on their behalf. Some Florida coaches offered the guys that were here. I think the coaching staff that was here already did a good job of getting their name out there and everything. It's just a matter of who you know and how you can get them, how you can get their film out there. And so we were able to get a bunch of guys offers, whether they took them or not. That's their decision, and whether it was right for their family. And then, but what I did was you guys got to use social media. You got to leverage that stuff. I got to be in constant communication with these college coaches, whether it's, hey, what's up, man? I got a kid. Hey, what's up, man? Watch this catch. This was today in practice. It doesn't have to be so formal, if you know what I mean. I know we got to send out a sheet, and I mean, you can just build relationships with guys. It's about relationship building. I started a combine series when I got in here. I call it the prospect combine series, and I videotaped them doing 40s and shuttle runs. And I start doing if you check our social media, fortdfootball.com on Facebook, fortdfootball.com on Twitter, you'll see some of these videos I put out. So I'm a very passionate guy. I like WWE wrestling. when I grew up. So every video I make is kind of like Macho Man Savage type style. I love it. It's fun. I think kids relate to it. And we'll do those kind of combine series while I interview them and ask about what their plans are for college, what they want to major in, what they love about the sport, and then show some combine videos, maybe a minute, and then throw that thing on social media, man, and throw that thing to the college coaches. Let them see the kid standing next to me. I say, I'm 5'10". Look how tall he is. You know what I mean? So they come in, they want to take pictures next to their door to just verify height and weight and stuff. So, it's a lot of work. Don't get it twisted. It's a lot of detail, but you've got to build the relationships. You've got to be consistent with it. And you'll get them in here. I think when I first got here, we had a bunch of coaches come through. When I first got here and we got all of our guys stuff out there, I'm expecting a big spring of people come down and visit in the school and I'm still sending stuff out. So I hope that answers what you asked. I know
for sure. That's great. Thank you.
Take your financial game to the next level with Founders Federal Credit Union. Reach your full potential. Relax. Join Founders today. Visit an office near you or relaxjoinfounders.com to apply. Federally insured by NCUA, member qualification required.
Well, a couple of easier ones here for you, Coach. We'll let you go. Maybe it's either on the bus ride to an away game, maybe in your office, pregame on a home game Friday night. What's on your pregame playlist as you're getting ready to kind of get out there and get the action?
And I'm the weirdest cat in the world. I'm just gonna tell you right now. I love music. I don't care if it's country, hip hop. Listen. So I like weird, like Celtic war music. Does that make sense? Like, okay, I'll take in like Viking war music or something, and I'll just let it play in the background. And I love that show. It came on a few years ago called Vikings, and Ragnar Lothbrok and all that. I love that show, and I love the soundtrack to it. So then I started looking up all these, and I will just veg out to that and just write. That's my Sunday game plan too. So it might be my pregame, but Sunday night and Saturday when I'm writing game plans and I'm thinking of stomping on somebody, I'm listening to that music getting fired up. So yeah, that's really what it is. Like that kind of stuff I like. Again, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with Metallica. It's always in the playlist, and you can't go. I love Master of Puppets. Man, that song will get you fired up. But just anything that hits hard, baby. Anything that hits hard, So.
You just mentioned that you're a big wrestling fan. We got to get your immediate thoughts on WrestleMania that took place last weekend.
Man, I'm at Fort Dorchester High School. I haven't had time to think right now, let alone wrestling. I don't even know. Was it The Rock in there?
The Rock came back. He did. Yeah.
It was something like the Dusty Rhodes' kid, right?
Cody Rhodes. The story is finished. Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm gonna have to go. Don't tell me what happened. I'm gonna have to go watch it. Well, I was watching promos on it, and that's as much as I've been getting through. My son's in Little League now. My daughters play for Fort Dorchester softball. They're crushing it. They're doing such a good job. The team is just lost their first game of Summerville this week, so they were undefeated, 8-1 right now. So they're doing a great job. So I've been so busy. I haven't got to do fun stuff like that, but I'm gonna check up on it.
All right. One we always like to ask, Coach. It's a staple for us. I know you've only been there a few months, but the Charleston area has some of the best cuisine in the state, obviously in the country now. What are some of your favorite restaurants you've been able to pick out so far?
I'm a coach. I have 5 seconds to go get something to eat. So I'll tell you this. When I was in Louisiana, there was a new company that started a restaurant. It was called Raising Cane's. When I left Louisiana, I haven't eaten it since. Then I come back up here, and Raising Cane's is right up the street. Yep. So I've probably eaten there like 15, 20 times. And they're one of our sponsors. So, hey, that's a plug for them right there. So
there we go.
They need to get back with us. But Raising Cane's is pretty good chain restaurant. Right where I live I live up the road up on Dorchester Road in Somerville. There's a restaurant called Brooklyn South Pizza.
Okay.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York originally. So my family was born and raised there, born in Brooklyn. So I know pizza. That Brooklyn South pizza is better than any pizza I've ever had. Ever. Even in Brooklyn. It's better than anywhere in Florida. It's better than anywhere in Charleston that I've eaten pizza. And there's only been a couple places that I've eaten pizza here. But I love it. I love it. So it's real authentic. And then I've eaten at, where else have I eaten? Top Dog up the road is a good little sports bar. They've got a great pulled pork sandwich. And seafood, I ate at a seafood restaurant, Carolina Seafood Company. That was pretty good too. I haven't got to the mom and pops down by the bay and all that stuff, and by the.
You've been grinding. We'll give you a pass.
All right, give me some time. This summer, I think I'm gonna enjoy some of that. So,
we'll catch you in the season preview in August. So we'll do it then.
All right, and you guys got to text me any good spots you want me to check out.
We can do it. We can do it. Well, last one here for you, Coach. I know obviously it's season's still a little ways away, but what are some of your goals for that 2024 campaign for you and your team this year?
Man, with these boys and with Fort in general, they know how to win. So again, it's going to be game by game, and we're going to take them serious every single game. We want to win the region. We want to win the state championship. That's a goal. And if that's not in our mix, and that's not our vocabulary, we're selling ourselves short. We want to win the region. We want to win the state championship. We've got to do the little things that are going to get us there. But yeah, obviously, and then Somerville's a big game. That's the game. That's the game, baby. So, we're really looking forward to it. Again, I've only got what I've seen on Huddle and what I've seen, based on those evaluations. I'm going a lot by what the kids tell me, what the coaches tell me, and just what I've seen on Huddle. So that's going to be a big game. That's going to be great. James Island, I've never seen. They're new in the region. I never take anybody lightly. So, and I don't know. Every team on the schedule seems tough. South Florence, White Knoll. I don't think there's any slouches even in the area. Some good football here, man. You know what I mean? So I'm excited about the schedule. I'm excited about where we're headed. But yes, the goal ultimately is region, state championship. So
this has been great. I want everyone to go check out Coach Lorenzano and the Patriots program on Twitter and Facebook. They do a great job posting highlights and updates. Definitely go follow them on there. Like I mentioned, follow us on all websites, movingchange.com, podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Moving the Change brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Drill, anything else for Coach? We'll let him go today.
As always, Coach, we want to thank you so much for your time. Congratulations, on getting the job there, and welcome to the Palmetto State. We love this influx of great coaches coming in our state and, kind of raising our national profile. That's what it's all about. And I know your kids are excited about what you guys have going on. We just look forward to what you're going to do this 2024 season. Just really loved your energy, Coach. So looking forward to what you infuse in that program. We know those guys are going to win. Like you mentioned a few times, it's ingrained in that program. It's a bunch of winners. So we look forward to following your season and continued success.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the time.
Appreciate you, Coach. Look forward to getting down to a practice or a game, getting to meet you in person, and best of luck. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, Coach.